Paris, not just a city, an experience. Invitation to a city like a poetry. There are some cities in the world that you dream of before you ever visit. You watch them in movies, read about them in books, hear them in songs. Paris is one of those cities. It's not just a location on a map, it's a promise whispered to you, a dream waiting to come true. This is the city of light, because the enlightenment shone here. This is the city of love, because every street opens onto romance. And this is the city of artists, because inspiration flows like the waters of the Seine. I'm here not just to show you the Paris from the postcards, but the life behind them, that momentary happiness in the first bite of a croissant, that timeless feeling you get while walking on cobblestone streets. Prepare your palates and your hearts. Because this is a journey through the world's greatest art gallery, Paris itself. Monuments of triumph, elegance, and life. The story of Paris is a story of elegance, carved in stone and iron. And the most famous hero of this story is the city's Iron Lady, the Eiffel Tower. A marvel of engineering by day, a glittering jewel over the city by night. When you reach the top of this tower, you understand why Paris is such a planned and aesthetic city. All the wide boulevards, the monuments, it's as if they are all in conversation with each other. Now, let's go to the world's grandest palace of art, the Louvre Museum. This isn't just a museum, it's a former royal palace, a giant chest holding civilization's most precious treasures. Of course, you will see the enigmatic smile of the Mona Lisa. But the real magic is hidden in the timeless beauty of the Venus de Milo, or the magnificent stance of the winged Victory of Samothrace at the top of the staircase. On the island in the middle of the Seine, the heart of Paris beats, Notre Dame Cathedral. Despite the great tragedy it endured, the spirit of this Gothic masterpiece still stands tall. Every stone in its walls whispers a million stories, from Victor Hugo to the present day. And a salute to the city's triumphant history, the Arc de Triomphe. From the top of this monument, built to immortalize Napoleon's victories, the world's most famous avenue, the ChampsElysees, unfolds beneath your feet. But between these monuments lies a massive, living organism that connects them and gives them life. Paris is not just a French city. With a population of over 12 million in its metropolitan area, this is a global hub where cultures, languages, and dreams from all over the world converge. This multicultural fabric is reflected in the city's cuisine, its music, and most importantly, its dynamic energy. And the veins of this giant organism, the Paris Metro. Operating since 1900, with over 300 stations weaving like a spider's web beneath every corner of the city, the metro is not just a mode of transport, it's an inseparable part of Parisian life. The sound of an accordion playing in a carriage, the different languages spoken by those sitting next to you. The metro is like a time machine, carrying you from monuments to neighborhoods, from history to the present day. Living like a Parisian, the soul of the neighborhoods. Let's step away from the grandeur of the monuments and dive into the cobblestone streets of the neighborhoods where the city's true soul resides. Our first stop, the Hill of Artists, Montmartre. The white dome of the Sacré-Cœur Basilica greets you. But the real magic is at the Place du Tertre, watching the artists at work on their canvases. It's impossible not to feel inspired as you wander these streets where the world's greatest artists, from Picasso to Modigliani, once lived. Now we descend to the city's most chic and historic district, Le Marais. This is where narrow medieval streets, hidden courtyards, and aristocratic mansions now meet the trendiest boutiques and art galleries. And the intellectual heart of Paris, Saint-Germain-des-Prés. Take a seat at one of the famous cafés where thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir once debated existentialism, Les Deux Magots or Café de Flore. This is a place where you don't just have a coffee, you breathe in an atmosphere where ideas and revolutions were born. And of course, the city's main artery, the River Seine. Inhale the scent of old books at the second-hand booksellers, bouquinistes, along its banks, or simply sit on a bench and watch the riverboats, bateaux mouches, glide by. The most beautiful moments in Paris are often the ones when you're doing nothing at all. The art of flavor, the Parisian kitchen. In Paris, eating is not just about satisfying hunger, it's about celebrating life. And this celebration begins every morning with that magnificent aroma coming from the bakery. Starting the day with a warm, flaky croissant or a crusty baguette from a bakery is the most essential Parisian ritual. The taste of that butter and freshness is a simple happiness. And the pastry shops. Colorful macarons, creamy eclairs. Each one is a small work of art. To see the city's authentic flavors, visit a street market, Marché. Here you'll see how serious a business cheese is, how fresh the vegetables are, and how the daily lives of Parisians unfold. For dinner, find a seat at a bistro or a brasserie. The red-checked tablecloths, the hustle of the waiters. This is Paris. A classic French onion soup or the famous steak frites. These flavors are simple but perfect. And a ritual not to be forgotten, having a drink before dinner, the apéritif. Or even better, grabbing a good bottle of wine, some cheese, and a baguette from a market and having a picnic on the lawns in front of the Eiffel Tower or by the River Seine. This is a Parisian experience more valuable than the most luxurious restaurant. Journeying through the dream and golden tips. How will your journey to this dreamlike city begin? Paris is tightly connected to the world by rail and air. If you arrive by plane, you'll be welcomed by one of Europe's largest airports, Charles de Gaulle, or the more central Orly. If by train, historic stations like Gare du Nord will drop you right in the heart of the city. Once you arrive, your best friend will be the metro. This efficient network, stretching under almost every street in the city, will quickly get you from one end of Paris to the other. The best times to visit this city are in the spring, when the trees are in bloom, or in the autumn, when the leaves turn to gold. The weather is pleasant during these seasons, and the crowds are smaller than in the summer. And here is my golden tip: the most beautiful photo of the Eiffel Tower isn't taken from the top of the tower itself. Instead, go to the top of the Arc de Triomphe or the Montparnasse Tower. This way, the photo you take will feature the famous Parisian skyline with the Eiffel Tower as part of it. And one more piece of advice: don't just rush around. Allow yourself to flâner. That is, to wander aimlessly, to turn down a side street, to sit at a cafe and watch the world go by. The true magic of Paris reveals itself in these unplanned moments. Paris stays with you. Yes, this is Paris. It's not just made of monuments, it's a brushstroke in a museum, the scent of fresh bread from a bakery, a melody drifting from a street musician's accordion. Paris is the sum of these small moments. When you leave this city, you don't just take photographs with you. A piece of it settles into a corner of your soul and stays with you forever. Because Paris is not just a place you visit, it's a place you experience. So, what's in your Paris dream?